Inside a locked lab at Theranos headquarters in Palo Alto, the machine investors had poured $700 million into couldn't actually run more than a handful of the 200 tests it promised the world. Elizabeth Holmes called it the Edison, named after the inventor, and in 2013, she told Walgreens executives it could diagnose diseases from a single drop of blood pricked from a fingertip. Employees inside the building knew a different truth. Most of those samples were secretly diluted and run on modified commercial analyzers bought from Siemens, the exact traditional lab equipment Theranos had promised to make obsolete. Walgreens opened Theranos testing centers inside 40 of its stores across Arizona anyway, and real patients started getting real results back from a machine that barely worked. A woman got a false positive for HIV. Another got a result suggesting a miscarriage that wasn't happening. Behind the scenes, President Sunny Balwani pressured lab workers to hit impossible deadlines and hide the gap between what the Edison could do and what the company was telling regulators. Two young employees, Tyler Schultz and Erica Cheung, tried raising the alarm internally and got threatened with lawsuits for their trouble. We post 3 of these every day, so subscribe if you want the next one when it drops, because this story gets stranger from here. In October 2015, Wall Street Journal reporter John Carreyrou published the story Theranos had spent years burying, built on tips from Schultz, Cheung, and a growing list of former employees willing to go on record. The company was valued at $9 billion at its peak, with Holmes herself worth an estimated $4.5 billion on paper, praised on magazine covers as the next Steve Jobs. Within months, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services found Theranos' California lab posed immediate jeopardy to patient health and banned Holmes from operating a lab for 2 years. Walgreens pulled out. Investors who had poured in nearly $1 billion watched the valuation collapse towards zero almost overnight. What made it work for so long wasn't the technology. It was the silence. Board members included former secretaries of state and defense, men who lent their names and reputations without ever independently verifying the machine actually functioned the way Holmes claimed. Ring the bell on this channel so you catch tomorrow's story the second it posts, because the buried scandals keep coming. Federal prosecutors eventually charged Holmes and Balwani with wire fraud, arguing they had knowingly deceived investors, doctors, and patients about a device that never worked as advertised. In January 2023, a jury convicted Holmes on 4 counts of fraud. She was sentenced to 11 years and 3 months and reported to a Texas prison in May of that year, while Balwani received nearly 13 years of his own. The machine that was supposed to run 200 tests from 1 drop of blood never ran more than a fraction of that, and it took real patients getting real wrong answers before anyone outside that locked Palo Alto lab found out. Share this with someone who still thinks a confident pitch is the same thing as a working product.